Hello, this is Steve with Doublereno Woodworking. So today, as I promised you, I'm going to take this broken board that I made and I'm going to turn it into a template. So that way, if you want to design this outside edge and save it and use it for multiple boards, then we can do that. And then I'm also going to show you how to save the same board with text already in it. And that way, all you have to do is go ahead and change your text. Say if you made one of these boards with someone's name inside of it and you wanted to come in and just change it to a different name, all your toolpaths, everything will be saved. All you have to do is just change the text, update your toolpaths, and you're ready to go. This is going to be done in VCarve Pro. It'll work in VCarve Desktop, and it'll also work in Aspire. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are in VCarve Pro. This is the file that I saved in the last video that just has this outline for the broken board design. Okay, so right now, let's look. We've only got one layer. And we're going to save this profile cut as a template. So that way, anytime you want to make another board and use this design, you can. So right now, you could leave that there, but let's go ahead and rename that. So let's right click, rename, and just call it profile. Okay, so that's selected now. So all we really have to do to fix this thing is we go back over here to our toolpaths. And let's go ahead and run the toolpaths, and I'll just show you. Go preview, click both toolpaths, preview toolpaths, and then go ahead and run it. And if you remember in the last video, I did two passes. I did a 1/4 inch end mill and a 1/16 inch end mill to get in these tight corners. So we can take these out. If you don't know how to do this, you just double click any excess. I got on the wrong one. Double click the excess and it'll take it out of your board or off of your preview. So there it is right there. Okay, so that's our profile that we want to save as a template. So all you have to do, this is pretty simple. You come in here and we're going to have to do this on both of these profiles. So you double click your profile. And if you look right down here, all of our paths, everything, our tool paths are going to stay the same. And if you're designing this from scratch, once you get your tool path set, the big thing you have to do right here is under vector selection, where it says manual, you have to change that. So hit this selector button and you come over here and then you're going to make sure you got all closed vectors checked, which that's already checked on mine. And then you want to do selected layers only. And this is the profile layer. So our profile layer is this cutout right here for the 1/4 inch end mill. And then you want to make sure that this button right here, associate with toolpath, is checked. So you hit close on that and go ahead and calculate that toolpath. And when we open it back up, now this vector selection says automatic. Okay, so we're going to close that. I'm going to go back to our second profile, which is our 1/16 inch end mill, and do the same thing. Click the selector button over here, all closed vectors, selected layers only, profile. Now when we get into the second part of this, we're going to have more than one layer that we're doing this with. So you just only want to select the layer that you want this toolpath to associate with. So now every time we run this toolpath, it will associate that toolpath with this layer. So hit close and then calculate. So let's go back and double check. So we got profile 1, it's automatic, that's what we want. Close that. Profile 2, set on automatic, that's what we want. Okay, so now this thing is ready to save as a template. So let's go back into our design mode. And then all you need to do from this point on is you come here to File. Instead of Save or Save As, you want to hit Save as a Template. And what it's going to do, it's going to save it as a CRVT file. And the T stands for template at the end of the file. So I've got a folder set up here just for templates. So our broken board CRVT, and hit Save. And now from now on, if you want to recreate this board, so let's go ahead and close. We don't need to save that. And we go back into our files. It opened up into that folder. So there's our broken board CRVT. That's our template. So I'm going to open that back up. And we'll go back and just make sure. Go back into our toolpaths. So now this thing is saved as a template. Okay, so now we're going to go in and we're going to open a file from template. We're going to open our broken board CRVT file. This one we just created that has our basic shape. Let's turn all these arrows off here. So we got our basic board here. And so now we're going to add some text, and we're going to save it as a template with text in there to show how you can just make multiple boards, and all you have to do is just change what your text says and just create board after board, as many as you want, without having to recreate all this other stuff or recreate your toolpaths for your text. So let's just add some text in here. I'm going to use this Noteworthy with 2.0. And so the first thing we're going to type in here is how to. Close that, and then we'll go ahead and center this to the center of our board, and then we'll click on it, and we'll just move it up out of the way. So now we're going to close that, unhighlight this text, and then create another one, and then we're just going to type in make. Close that, go ahead and center that to our board, click it one more time, and then we'll drag that down. So that's what we're going to do with our first board. So there's our text. And now we want to highlight that. We're going to make an offset on this so we can do a pocket toolpath around our text. So come down here to the offset layout, and let's try doing 0.5. Let's see what that looks like. So that's a little close. I would like to get these to close together right here. So let's undo that and go with 0.55. See what that does. That'll work. That'll close that off. That'll look fine. So what you got to do here, go ahead and click off of that, and then all these little pieces in the middle, just highlight and delete those. You don't want that, it'll actually leave those out. So that should be everything. So now we've got our text, and then we've got a offset around our text to do our pocket cutout with. So let's go ahead and highlight all this, close that, highlight all of this, and then we're going to make our toolpath for this. So we go over to toolpaths, and we want to do a pocket toolpath around this. So we got, and I've already had this set up because I practiced it before I did it on the video. So I'm cutting this pocket out with a 1/4 inch end mill, and then with a 1/16 end mill to get into these tight corners and stuff right here. So I've got a 1/16 and a 1/4 inch end mill already set up, and I'm doing a 1/4 inch depth. And this is going to be, let's not even mess with the passes because we're not cutting this thing. I'm going to edit all these passes and settings and stuff. But so right now we're going to do a climb, and everything else is okay on this. This is all we really need right here. So let's go ahead and calculate that toolpath out. And then we'll go ahead and preview. We'll just preview all of them. So there's our pocket toolpath. Okay, so we have our text cut out with our pocket toolpath. We've got our outside board. And just to make this a little easier to look at, let's go ahead and get rid of all of our waste again. And just double click all this waste. I missed it there. We'll get rid of all the waste, and then we will start saving our toolpaths. Now one thing I do want to do is on this these pocket toolpaths, I'm going to change our color to black so this will stand out a little bit more. Change both of those pocket toolpaths to black. Okay, so there's our board. So that looks pretty cool. So now I'm going to show you how to save this as a template. So now we can come in, after that we can come in and just change our words, and we won't have to redo our toolpaths or anything. We'll just have to recalculate them. So if we come back up here and look on these first two profiles, these are already set to automatic, and that's because we pulled this out of that template earlier. Okay, so that toolpath is set on automatic. That toolpath is set on automatic. These two here will not be. So we got to do one more thing before we can do that. So we got These two pocket toolpaths have to do with this text and this offset right here. And if you come in there and look, all we have is one layer of, which is our profile. So let's add a new layer and we'll call it text. And then we're going to highlight all of this, which it already is. So you want to highlight all of your text and your offset, and then right click, and then we want to move that to this text layer. Okay, that has to be done. So now if we go in there and turn our text layer off, the text is gone. And then there's our profile layer. So all the text is on a text layer. The profile is on a profile layer. So we're good to go there. So let's go back over to our 3D view. And we'll come in here and we'll open this toolpath back up. And then we're going to go on selector. And just like we did in the first part of the video, we want all closed vectors. Select layers only. Now it's selected on profile, but we don't want this to go to profile. We just want this to go to text. And we want to associate it with the toolpath. So close vectors, pick the right layer, which is text, and then associate with toolpath and close it. And then we want to recalculate it. Okay, so now let's click off another one. And go back and look at that one. Now that one's set on automatic, so we're good to go there. Now we just have to do the same thing real quick to our second toolpath. You know, sometimes this does this. It will, sometimes, I guess if they were both checked, it will set it to automatic. If it doesn't do that, then you just have to do them individually, but both of these are set to automatic. So we go on the selector and look, that's close vectors, set to the text layer, associated with the toolpath, and close. Let's go ahead and calculate that one just to be safe. Okay, so let's close this, and let's go ahead and run all of our toolpaths again just to make sure we're good to go. Reset our preview. We want all of our toolpaths, and then we're going to preview all toolpaths. Okay, so that's good to go. So now we have to do the same thing again. So this is being saved as another CRV file. So we need to go back and we need to save this as a template. And let's name this one, we'll name it broken board underscore text. So this is going to be our CRVT template file that has text on it. So we hit save. So then we come back in now and we can close this file. We don't need to save it again because it's already been saved as a template. So we come in and we open new from template, click our broken board text. So we hit OK on that, and now we come back in here in our design mode, and on that text right there, we're going to say how to make a template. So we're just going to put the word A here, hit close, highlight this text, go back to our draw text box, and then type in the word template, and hit close. And let's go ahead and do some adjusting on these. Move them a little bit closer together. Now the one thing that we have to change here is our offset is not going to work anymore. So highlight your offset and delete it. Come back, highlight both of these, and we'll redo the offset again. Let's go ahead and try that same size. That will work. We just got to get it moved up. So that's fine. Let's just highlight all of these together and then just use the arrow keys and drag it up to where it's centered. And it should already be centered in our board horizontally. So now we got it centered good vertically. Okay, so that's all good. So hit close on that. And now all we have to do is go back to our toolpaths. Our profile did not change, but we do need to take this one and calculate it one more time. And then we need to click this one, close that one, click this one and calculate it. So now that we've calculated both of those again, let's reset our preview. Make sure all of our are done. Make sure all of them are highlighted, and then we're going to preview all toolpaths. And there it is. That's all we had to do. Just change that text and recalculate your toolpaths, and you're ready to go. So I can make unlimited copies of this, and all I have to do is change my text. This particular one, I had my offset, so I had to redo my offset. But change your text, recalculate your toolpaths, and you can make unlimited signs like this with just different words of text inside of it. So it's pretty easy. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Please like, please subscribe, and please share my videos. Thank you.